Good morning. I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Kamusta na kayo? How's everyone doing?
Kamusta yung peace rally kahapon? Over 1 million yung... 2 million daw, no? 1 million dito sa tapos kasi it was all over the country. Meron sa Cagayan, Davao, and Cebu.
Sari-sari ang mga reaksyon ng mga social media netizens natin. Mga ibang galit, mga iba natuwa. Kanya-kanyang opinion naman yan eh. Mga iba na-irita dahil sa traffic, di ba? So,
tapos kahapon meron ding nawala sa pwesto sa House Committee.
Oo,
diba? Representative Saldico.
Si Saldico.
Isa pa yan sa pag-uusapan
health reasons dyan, pero nagulat dyan si Kong Benny Abante na bakit ang
nag-umpisa pa ay
Sandro Marcos, Congressman Sandro Marcos.
Ano pa ba mga...
Anyway, madami pa tayong pag-uusapan, but let's move on. We're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is Brunch.
Kicking off our countdown with updates on the LA wildfires. The devastating wildfires in Los Angeles, California have claimed at least 24 lives. 16 of the 24 deaths were attributed to the Eaton fire and 8 to the Palisades fire. Around 150,000 residents in Los Angeles County remain under evacuation orders. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs reported that around 150 Filipinos have been displaced by the wildfires. The government is providing $200 or approximately 11,731 pesos in emergency aid to each affected Filipino.
Yes.
If you could see yung videos when they were distributing, aside from mga clothes and other stuff, may mga food trucks na nagsidatingan sa area to feed those displaced by the homes. Even if yung Pacific Palisades area is a rich area naman, mga mayayaman yan eh. 90% of them. Problema, ang fire, sinunog lahat. Damit mo, tapos gamit mo, di ba?
Pagkain mo at that very moment.
Pagkain mo, kotse. Yung mga iba pa, although upper middle class, paycheck to paycheck yan. So, they don't know how they're going to rebuild their house. Mas lalo ng iba kasi iba...
Siyempre, yung mga passbook nila, ATM nila, for sure.
Hindi, pero some have access to funds, but others daw kasi, ang insurance na kiniklaim nila, hindi kasama ang acts of God na tinatawag. Classified kasi, until may official declaration na classification ng police tsaka ng fire.
Yung investigation nila kung saan nagsimula.
So, walang makiklaim na insurance. Kasi ang insurance, they don't pay out pag acts of God na fire. Accidental fire ang binabayaran nila. So, hinihintay nila yon.
Right. And yesterday, di ba, nabanggit ko din to sa'yo yesterday na there are massive donation campaigns that are happening right now to help nga itong mga na-displaced. And of course, yung mga animals also na nawalan din ng kanilang tirahan dyan sa forest. Tapos, we've seen also several houses from different areas. Yung nagluluto sila. Tapos, pinapadala nila yung pagkain doon sa areas kung saan yung mga nangangailangan. At
sabi nga nila, ngayon, for some young teenagers, ngayon lang sila nakakita, rich or poor, millionaires or celebrities, nagsama-sama in a basketball court waiting for food trucks to feed them. But because from the Palisades area, even restaurants around the area, sunog na rin. And even commissaries and groceries, sunog na rin. So, food has
church, lahat.
Food has to come out.
Food
has to come out from different areas of Los Angeles. Kasi Altadena, Pacific Palisades, yan, grabe yung mga nangyaring sunog dyan.
You mentioned nila yung mga different personalities. Of course, di ba, na-report na natin dito yung mga houses of the likes of sila Paris Hilton,
Harrison Ford,
Leighton Meester, Mark Hamill, Jamie Lee Curtis, Harrison Ford. Lahat na, no? Tapos, of course, yung mga ibang mga personalities nagpunta. Actually, mix yung reactions ng iba. Yung sila Prince Harry at saka si Meghan, yung kanyang asawa, nagpunta doon at nag-extend ng kanilang tulong, namigay ng pagkain. Yung iba naman, naiinis sa kanila kasi taking advantage of the opportunity. Yung iba naman sinasabi, bakit ganun yung pag-iisip mo? Andyan na nga sila, tutulong sila. Kasi sabi nila, malapit sila doon sa area, hindi sila tumulong. Tapos kung nandoon sila, umiepal sila, di ba? Parang nagpapapansin sila.
Siguro, I heard that also kasi parang...
They don't really like Meghan
Ang sabi kasi ng iba, ang dami daw tumulong this past few days na hindi pumunta. Na mga big-time names that they just alam nila pa nung tinanong daw yung mga drivers.
Galing kay ganito.
Galing kay ganito. But other words, parang the celebrities mismo na who were helping did not go there.
Kasi baka pagkaguluhan pa sila.
Not only that, but kasi they understand na if I go there, I'm another risk security threat. So, yung mga iba nag-inhibit from going there, nagpadala na lang ng tulong.
Pwede din naman. Pero para sa akin, kung nagpadala sila ng tulong, pumunta sila doon, that's something na rin, di ba?
It's not for us to judge. Pero on a side note, before we go, isang nakakayak na story din, yung side story na sumisikat sa LA, yung that guy na who had 2 dogs missing. Nahanap yung black dog and he said, I just wish in the next few days I can find my dog.
Sabi niya, I don't care about my house.
Sinamahan siya ng crew. The next day, hawak niya yung black dog. He was calling for the other dog, yung white dog naman. Lumabas yung white dog. Live sa harapan ng camera ko ng US.
Naiyak ako doon talaga.
Tapos nagwala siya. Parang wala daw siya pakialam sa house niya. Pero yung fur babies niya.
Anak niya, my daughter.
Kasi yung isa yung son niya Tiki-tiki-tika and tiki-tiki-tiki. Yung dalawang dog. Yung black na sa kanya, yung white. From the rubble mismo, tumakbo nung tinawag siya.
I'm sure nakita yan ng mga branches natin, mga kapatid natin sa social media.
Really nakakalungkot yung nangyari. It's really devastating. Iba ang fire.
Totoo.
Even if yung mga Pinoy na na-interview dito, ilang beses daw sila...
Recently lang, meron na fire sa Cavite.
Sabi nga, kasi na-interview, ilang beses daw sila nabaha, okay lang, nag-recover, inayos. Pero pag sunog daw, wala kang laban.
Totoo, walang matitira sa'yo
Kaya mag-ingat kayo mga kapatid sa mga... Pag umalis kayo ng bahay, unplug nyo yung mga... At what gagamit ng extension cord? Octopus cord. As much as possible.
Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Now next in our countdown, Meralco has announced lower electricity rates for this month. Now the company said the overall rate would dip by around 2 cents per kilowatt hour. This means that a household consuming 200 kilowatts would see a reduction of 44 pesos. The decrease was attributed to cheaper generation costs. Meralco, though, still advises the public to conserve energy and be efficient in their usage.
Huwag ho tayong mag-aaksaya ng kuryente. Let's make energy efficiency our way of life, yung masinop, matalino at maayos na paggamit ng ating mga household appliances. Kasi yung pong energy efficiency, pag pinagsama-sama po natin yung effort na yan sa loob ng ating bahay, garantisado po, bababa po ang inyong konsumo.
Pag 200 kilowatt hour baba, hindi tayo aabot dyan. Hindi tayo kasama sa discount. Kasi 150 to 177 lang tayo
Pero for others, good news sa inyo.
Huwag nyo na paabutin ng 200 para maka-discount. Keep it low na lang, di ba? Ganon din naman yan.
Para doon sa mga umaabot, ganon yung konsumo, malaki yung kanilang kinukonsumo. Good news sa kanila. Kasi in the light of, alam mo, pagpasok ng taon, di ba, ang taas tubig, kuryente,
pero ano naman
pasahe.
Habang maganda ang weather po, 'di ba? Iwas muna sa aircon. Hindi naman kailangan pa mag-aircon Maganda, lamig-lamig, 24, 25 degrees sa Metro Manila, 'di ba? Take advantage of the
cool
sweater weather. All right, let's move on to the next. On our 8th spot, a shocking mix-up has left the family of a Filipino domestic worker devastated after receiving the wrong remains from Kuwait. Jenny Alvarado, who passed away on January 2, was repatriated to the Philippines on January 10. However, when the casket arrived at the funeral home in Montalban, Rizal, the family discovered it contained the body of a Nepalese national instead of Jenny's. The Department of Migrant Workers has launched an investigation into the incident and is working to expedite the repatriation of Jenny's actual remains. Initial reports from the Philippine Embassy in Kuwait revealed that Alvarado, along with 2 Nepali workers, died of coal suffocation. The Alvarado family is now demanding answers for their mother's death and the mix-up of remains.
Imbis na po malungkot kami, nagdadalamhati kami, yung pagdating po, galit po naramdaman namin. Tapos po, sabi ko, bakit wala siyang nunal? Bakit ang liit niya? Ang dami pong pasa ng Nepalese. So, ako po, nag-isip ako na gano'n din nangyari sa nanay ko. Sabi ko, baka ganito rin nangyari sa mama ko. Ilang araw po kami hindi makatulog, na trauma po kami sa nakita naming katawan.
Kasi ano yun
I can imagine.
The three of them daw were, kasi may standard coal na ginagamit daw sa where they died, di ba? Pero parang dito may over-excess ng burning ng coal. So parang yung suffocation. Plus, of course nga, yung isang Nepali babae na dumating, madami daw pasa. So parang ang daming, imbis na magkaroon ng resolution, at least man lang, mas tumindi pa daw ang problema. Siyempre, pagpasok daw ng coffin,
naka-ready na yung nila doon, bulaklak, merong kandila.
Tapos pagpasok ng coffin, hindi pa na nakikita, umiiyak na sila, di ba, yung build-up. Tapos pagbukas ng coffin, ano yung reaction mo? Teka lang, hindi ko to nanay.
Nakaka-trauma ako. I can imagine yung nararamdaman ng anak na natotrauma sila.
That's a very bad mix-up. Diba? Play of emotion.
Pero yun nga daw, they check, nandun naman yung mami.
Yes.
So, yung DMW, Department of Migrant Workers, are working right now para mapabalik nga.
Paperwork's maayos na daw.
Pero ang tanong dyan, sino yung may
Kuwait
kasalanan?
Daw
Kung sila yung may kasalanan, sila yung magbayad ng expenses na to dahil mahala, magpapauwi ng labi
Because yung mga labi na yan, ng tatlo, yung Nepali and yung Pinay, Kuwaiti, funeral home yan
Yeah.
So it's ang error niyan is sa Kuwaiti side.
Sila magbayad
doon.
Oo.
And they have to, syempre, bring back the body nitong Nepali woman. Tapos papadala mo yung tamang katawan dito. And then another play of emotion sa mangyayari sa pamilyang ito. Kawawa naman. Ay, nako. Sa Kuwait, ang dami na nangyayaring issue. It's time to review yung protocols of sending Filipinas there.
Totoo.
Kasi matagal ng issue yan.
Ang daming mga namamatay doon ng mga kababayan natin, di ba?
Meron na sa freezer na lagay. Tapos meron pa nakapatay.
Diba recently, nung kasabay nga nito, yung isang kababayan natin na involved allegedly doon sa pagkamatay ng anak ng amo niya. Before that, or...
washing machine daw.
Oo, yeah. But before that, meron palang nawawalang kababayan natin 2 months ago. Tapos yun nga, nalaman nila, nakita na yung body. Yun yung hindi pa napapadala pabalik dito. So ilan lamang yun dun sa mga insidente dyan sa Kuwait. Kaya sinasabi nung iba, wag na, di ba? Tigil na natin papadala dyan.
Ang ibang kasi mga amo sa Kuwait, di lahat pero ang tingin kasi nila sa domestic workers they're purchasing slaves. So ownership, that's why kinukuha nila yung passport and documents.
Yung gano'n. Pero ngayon, bawal na yun Dapat ang passport nando dun sa...
I forgot there's a term for that when they claim ownership over the kasambahay. Pero which is not the case. We have to review our protocols.
Kafala?
Kafala system.
Kafala system.
Anyway, we have to review that. Let's move on.
Coming up. A gag order has been issued on the case filed by Vic Soto against controversial filmmaker Daryl Yap.
And the probe into Vice President Sara Duterte's alleged death threat against President Bongbong Marcos has concluded. Ano kaya ang mga findings? Kaka-excite naman. Ano ba ang findings nito?
Few months ago, pinag-uusapan lang yan diba?
Kakasuhan na ba o ibabalik sa NBI for further case build-up? Alamin natin yan.
We are just getting started. More of our top 10 news when brunch returns. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Happy Tuesday po sa ating mga brunchies. Of course, this is the time to greet our regular brunchies, our ating usual suspects. Unahin ko po muna dito sa YouTube natin. Of course, Ronald Macstay is here, Elmo Cardenas, Sia, Tita Daisy, Tito Naldi, and Kuya Jopet watching all the way from Antipolo. At saka si Mirna Almaria from Pasig. Leonie Valdesoto, happy Tuesday daw, brunchies. Mark Santiago and Oscar N na nanonood din sa atin. Dito naman sa Facebook, we have, of course, Ringo, ate, VJ, nanonood mga regulars natin. Juan Miguel Ebron, sabi niya, lagi daw siya kumakain ng pandesal kapag gising sa umaga at pwede naman din daw hot chocolate. Good combination. Si isang Pokemon Go, si Ralph Domingo, sobrang balot daw today because of the weather. Oo, malamig nga today.
Malamig today. And last few days,
si Kuya Elmer, maraming salamat sa iyong egg sandwich na palaman. Sarap. Si Mike Montero, nanonood din siya sa atin. Mina Benales, Tita Esther Abaya, yan, nanonood din yan sa atin. Si Mother Earth, of course, nanonood yan. Okay, let's continue with our countdown. On our top 7 is Chavit Singson. The former Ilocos Sur governor has withdrawn from the senatorial race. 83-year-old Singson said he is no longer pursuing his Senate bid, citing health concerns. He explained that campaigning is no easy task especially the responsibilities of a senator. In the ballot phase released by the COMELEC, Singson was number 58 in the ballot. Yan. O the other day yan lumabas kasi nagka-pneumonia si former Governor Chavit Singson. Tapos may mga complications sa kanyang medications. And he feels na very tiring kasi ang campaign so hindi kakayanin ng katawan niya.
Si Manong Chavit, no? Diba,
he was here.
He was here sa studio. When you see him in the way he's walking around, he's a little, not the Chavit that you're used to. Yung mabilis na malakas. So medyo weak. Medyo nakikita mo may konting kaidaran na talagang lumalabas So, and if you're going to put somebody like at that age in the rigors of a campaign, and then magkakaroon ka pa ng term ng sa Senado, thrice a week, 4 times a week kang mag-hearing. Ang assumption mo pa is wala kang mga committee hearing, ang hirap sa health ng isang tao.
Sabi niya sa ibang pagkakataon na lang or sa ibang paraan na lang siya tutulong doon sa mga advocacies niya. Pero yun nga tinatanong dito kasi the COMELEC has already printed the ballot, 'di ba? Yung pinag-usapan nga natin.
I-void lang nila yan.
Pwedeng i-void kapag may bumoto sa kanya, i-void lang yung kanya pangalan unless sabi nga ng COMELEC may mag-substitute. Pero 'di ba, ang usapan natin sa substitute dito same family name, hindi na katulad ng dati.
Anak ni Gov.
Hindi na katulad dati na kung sino-sino yung pwedeng
mag-substitute. Ang anak kasi ni Gov dati, di ba? Congressman dati rin.
Yes, Tsaka tapos na ata yung substitution November yun Pero ngayon kasi kung biglang ganito may health reasons.
Same name.
Oo, same name. Pero I doubt it Pero yun nga, kahit naka-print na yun sa ballot, pwede naman daw ma-void na lang. Yun naman sinasabi ng COMELEC, di ba? When they printed the ballot, they can actually adjust yung pag mag-lessen, pero hindi sila pwedeng mag-add.
Yeah.
Diba? Alright, let's continue with our countdown.
Moving over to our top 6, the Philippine government has filed a new diplomatic protest against China. This is to oppose the presence of Chinese Coast Guard militia and Navy in our exclusive economic zone. The National Maritime Council maintains that China does not have any basis to conduct maritime activities over these waters. The Philippine Coast Guard monitored China's so-called monster ship roaming around the West Philippine Sea. Security analyst Chester Cabalza said Beijing is worried over the growing international support for the Philippines.
Palakas din ang Pilipinas in terms of our diplomatic clout and defense partnerships. Imagine niyo mga malalakas na bansa naniniwala sa naratibo natin at sumusuporta sa military and Coast Guard modernization natin.
Yeah, because we have Japan, we have recently in trilateral, Japan, US, and then we also have Germany who's been in touch with us. France has been talking to us also, mga European countries. Australia,
Canada, Australia, yan, yung mga allies natin.
Little by little, we're building a bloc that could help us. Medyo yung help na or support from other ASEAN or Southeast Asian countries, di mo makukuha yan kasi kanya-kanyang claimant tayo.
Yes. But if you're talking about how many diplomatic protests na file ng Pilipinas, siguro here daw in the Philippines and under the PBBM administration, it's over 193. So 194 na, no? And 60 nung 2024. So ito pang 61 na ngayong final nila. So, di ba, we have talked to several experts, di ba? Para ano ba yung significance or importance ng pagpa-file ng diplomatic protest ng Pilipinas when in fact na every time that we would file diplomatic protest, wala naman nangyayari. Di ba? It falls off, sabi na sa deaf ear.
Ang punto dyan kasi it's on the record.
It's on the record. Importante daw na on the record na each time na may mangyayaring ganito within our territory, within our sovereignty, ay hindi natin nagugustuhan. So, it's on the record.
The moment you stop kasi filing the protest and it's not on the record, parang you're giving up your claim. Hindi mo na rin reklamo. At least if we do go to The Hague again, we have it on record. Teka lang, paulit-ulit sila.
It's good that you mentioned that kasi sinasabi ng ibang mga lawmakers like, of course, we have Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Risa Ontiveros, na I think this is high time daw that we go back to The Hague to file another case. Kasi diba, yung the last time that we filed yung 2016 ruling, yung sa The Hague, yun nga, pabor naman sa atin yun. This time around, there are other cases that we can file, diba, against the environment and etc. So,
siyempre, dami silang sinira na corals. O aside from that, yung paghaharang sa Bajo de Masinloc and other things like that.
So yun nga, yung monster ship na to na nakita nila no sa off sa Zambales, papalapit daw ito sa Bajo de Masinloc. And this is really important
Paikot-ikot
for China.
lang daw doon
To establish parang anong tawag doon, presence doon sa area na yon. So, akala natin umalis lang sila doon sa may malapit sa Zambales.
Hindi, paikot-ikot
lang pala siya. Pero may pumalit sa kanila doon di ba?
Reliebo.
Smaller ship. Pero may mga radio challenge na ginagawa. Pero, of course, ginigiit nila na they have the right to do the maritime activities doon sa area na yan. Alright, let's continue with our countdown. Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla believes that there is a grand conspiracy within the Philippine National Police to protect drug syndicates. Here's the report.
The Department of Interior and Local Government suspected a grand conspiracy within the Philippine National Police to protect drug syndicates. Secretary John Vic Remulla believes this may have started during the Duterte administration.
It is our theory, but not proven, na dahil sa reward system na ginawa instituted by the PNP when 2016 started, ang drug haul ay hindi nire-report at dahil may reward, kukuha sila ng tingi, ilalagay doon, may reward, may accomplishment. So doon nagkaroon ng bodega, kuha, arrest, reward, promotion.
The Department of Justice earlier filed criminal charges against 30 police officers, including 2 generals, in connection with the confiscation of 990 kilograms of shabu, worth 6.7 billion pesos during a buy-bust operation in October 2022.
What we have done now for the first time is to show conclusively that a criminal enterprise involving the selling, the arrest, the storage, the intent to distribute, and the intent to cover up, all in one day nangyari. So it shows, that's why I said a grand conspiracy of a criminal enterprise.
The case involved dismissed Police Master Sergeant Rodolfo Mayo, who is accused of staging a fake operation to cover up earlier mistakes.
The first part of the cover-up therefore pertains to the decision to exclude Sergeant Mayo from the report and inventory of the anti-illegal drugs operation at the WPD Lending Office, and instead implicate his employee, Nay Atadero. This false narrative was used by the operatives in official documents, such as the report by General Domingo to the Acting Director for Operations. As you can see in the document, General Domingo reported that a buy-bust operation was conducted at 4:45 p.m. on October 8 at the WPD Lending Office, resulting in the arrest of Atadero only and the seizure of more or less 990 kilograms of shabu with an estimated standard drug price of approximately 6.7 billion. The same false narrative was further used in the submissions before the DOJ and the court. However, CCTV footage shows that no buy-bust operation was conducted at 4:45 p.m. at the WPD Lending Office.
Remulla has ordered a PNP-wide investigation into drug holes dating back to 2016. The DILG also seeks amendment to the PNP reform law to prevent similar issues in the future.
So yung nakikita nyo clearly na yung mga top officers involved were not aware of the procedural matters to be followed. So, lumaki na lumaki. Ang nangyari, yung nasa ilalim, sila nag-decision. Yung mga nasa taas, nakikisama na lang.
For News 5, Maricel Halili, We Are One News.
Diba?
Na lang
Since
Sige,
2016.
Sama-sama na lang tayo.
Oo. Pero titignan mo dyan, upon investigation nila yan, syempre, sino yung mga PNP chief at that time? Kasi, di ba, command responsibility.
Ring datos Bato?
Bato, we have Eleazar, we have Sinas, We have
Noong
a lot
2016, that's ba to?
Yeah, pero ibig sabihin, since 2016 ang investigation.
Bakit wala nangyaring
investigation? Since 2016 yan. So, count ka 2016, 17, 18. Kasi may mga...
Parang sinasabi natin, ang daming pinagdaan ng PNP chief, bakit walang resolution? Ngayon lang nasilip to, kung di pa nakita sa CCTV, na wala talagang action.
Dahil dun sa yung ngayong bypass operation ng 2022 na worth of how much na
6 billion pesos worth of shabu.
Tapos yung
na
stage kasi daw yung arrest na yun, di ba? Na apparently, supposedly parang October 8 yung arrest, October 9, pero October 8 pala na arrest na, something like that. So yun yung tinitignan nila doon. Tapos, syempre, ano yung magiging mo dito? Ano yung resolution mo also aside from getting accountability doon sa mga involved dito? Sinasabi kasi daw nila, dito pala sa PNP natin, wala tayong specialization. Can you imagine? Wala pala tayong... For quite some time, yung mga police nandiyan lang sila for arresting, blah, 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 blah. Wala tayong specialization in terms of yung isang officer would stay there for 4 years or so to specialize in cybercrime. Diba? Specialize in investigation.
Parang sa US, what you say, parang sa US, diba, you have the dangerous crimes unit, you have the not so dangerous crimes unit, you have the drug unit, diba, you have the gang unit. May mga in other words kasi alam ko to ito ang toka ko kaya alam ko to. Dito kasi generic sila. At that time kaya SPO, PO1, PO2, PO3, PO4.
So wala palang ganun.
Wala.
So they have to do that. Yun ang sinasabi ni DILG Secretary John
walang specific field of expertise ang isang police. So one police officer could be holding a violent crimes case, a gangs case, a drug case,
and then the next day doon siya sa kabila,
the next day, doon
cyber,
cyber naman siya.
So kailangan may ganun.
Walang units, kumbaga. Although ang PIDEA was created because matindi ang issue
for drug,
drugs.
Drug operation.
But PIDEA is not part of the PNP. It's a specific investigating body, agency yan So iba naman yan. Pero that's a good idea. Kahit yung SOCO, kailan lang naman ginawa ang SOCO unit na yan di ba?
Titingnan natin yan kasi since 2016 sinasabi nila may connection to doon sa di ba? Sinabi rin ni Secretary John Vic Remulla doon sa reward system sinasabi ni Rohina Garma.
Yung ginagamit for tukhang. Yung Oplan tukhang nila. Kasi may mga pyramid the bigger drug lord you kill, mas mataas ang makukuha mong reward.
Tinanong nga si Secretary Remulla kung naniniwala siya doon sa sinabi ni Rohina Garma. Ang sinabi lang niya, well, it is clear naman during the investigation ng Quadcom, diba, na ito yung mga nangyari, ito yung mga evidences. So doon na lang magbase. But anyway, let's continue with our countdown.
Coming in at top 4, a Muntinlupa court has issued a gag order on actor Vic Soto amid his legal tussle with film director Daryl Yap. Now, the gag order prohibits all parties from publicly disclosing or discussing the case filed over the teaser of the rapists of Pepsi Paloma. Yap argued that public comments about the case could cause grave and irreparable damage to his artistic license. Recall that Soto filed 19 counts of cyber libel, citing malicious and defamatory statements in the film's teaser. The trailer of the movie went viral online after linking Soto to the alleged rape of late actress Pepsi Paloma.
Okay. So bawal muna sila magsalita about the case kasi it's a gag order.
Kasi ang ina-assume ata ni Director Daryl Yap mapapalabas pa yung movie. So yung baka yung ang tawag dito, ang tawag mo sa
teaser, trailer,
spoilers.
Spoiler.
Pero parang medyo nakakapagtaka lang. It's because si Bossing naman hindi man madaldal He's not saying a lot naman di ba? So gag order siguro in general just to make sure na both parties are in order until ma-resolve tong issue.
Isa pa sa mga ini-issue kasi 'di ba sinabi din ni Vic Soto when he was interviewed, dun nag-file sila ng case. Wala naman daw nagtanong sa kanya, wala nag-consult.
Wala.
Sa other side of the fence, yung kampo nila filmmaker Daryl Yap, ni Direk Daryl Yap, sabi niya, nagpadala daw sila ng script kay Tito Soto. So yung mga tao, of course, nagtatanong sila, bakit mo kay Tito Soto pinadala? Bakit hindi mismo kay Vic Soto? So isa yun sa mga...
But that case kasi what that happened before...
Script.
What happened to all of the brothers. So I guess being the oldest brother and siya yung statesman, padala natin dito, mag-uusap naman yung tatlo. Siguro yan ang akala nila.
Pero ang tanong dyan, natanggap ba ni Senator Tito Soto.
Receiving copy.
Oo, dapat
yan ang
ganun. Kasi madali
natin.
din naman magsabi na
pwede mo sabihin, pinadala ko sa mga pinadala. Pwedeng linapag lang sa pintuan ng bahay mong ganun eh.
Pero yun, antayin na lang natin.
Let's wait for the resolutions of this
pero
case.
before this, yung court din also granted yung request.
Writ of habeas data also.
So bawal na mag-share.
Bawal ka mga kapatid huwag mag-share na mga ganun. Madadamay
kasi baka
kayo.
makasama kayo sa kaso. Okay. Pero
Don't,
ito, balik kayo
Don't go away, we're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News. Thank you, by the way, sa mga viewers natin na bumabate and who are engaging with our issues. That's nice to hear, both at Facebook and our YouTube social media accounts.
Kahabol lang daw si Alex Fuentes, si Ray Castro, at saka si Mike Montero.
Good morning to all of you and all our brunchies. Thank you, no? And with that, let's move on. Arriving at our third spot, Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldico has resigned as chairman of the House Committee on Appropriations. In a letter, Ko cited health concerns as the reason for his decision to step down. He played a key role in passing initiatives like the Ayuda sa Kapos Ang Kita program, or AKAP, and securing funds for health, housing, and food security projects. Meanwhile, the impeachment complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte were not mentioned during the resumption of the 19th Congress session on Monday. In his speech, Speaker Martin Romualdez emphasized that investigations would continue into rising rice and power prices.
Let this be our promise. Public trust is sacred, and this House will never betray it. Sa mga umatake sa atin para tumigil tayo sa mga investigasyon, may mensahe tayo sa kanila. Itutuloy natin ang trabaho na inaatang sa atin ng mamamayan. Hindi tayo atras sa anumang laban para sa bayan.
Yung pagka-resign ni Kong Saldi raises more questions for a lot of people. He cited health reasons, but alam naman natin
and even Congressman Abante said, di ba, he was surprised.
Most congressmen who cite health reasons for leaving their committee positions, alam naman natin they're giving a graceful, sometimes given a graceful exit. And no less than si Congressman Sandro Marcos pa ang nag-declare ng vacant ng position. So and si Benny Abante...
Ano ba siya? Siya ba yung unang casualty?
Si Kong Benny Abante, magkaibigan yan with si Zaldico So parang if magulat ang isang katoka mo, kaibigan mo.
Naniwala ka nagulat siya. Joke lang.
Ha? Ano lang na?
Naniwala ka nagulat siya. Alam na niya yung char.
Hindi.
Pero hindi.
Alam niya may yung nangyayari.
Ang pinaka-importante
ang sinasabing kinakagulat lang niya is yung
health reasons.
Health reasons, gawa na, no.
Pero kasi nga, importante itong posisyon ni Congressman Zaldico, di ba?
This is the basic committee which
yearly budget
which gives the Congress, I mean,
and even not just the even the each agency or department siya ang mag-head ng mga
Isipin
budget.
mo kasi ang Congress is supposed to be equal body of the executive. And he is at the heart of it kasi yung Committee on Appropriations is the one that determines yung budget. So, malaki ang role niya dito.
And very
for him to be removed.
Kasi itong naging budget na to na siya yung kumamada eh. Diba? Binawasan ng husto yung social services, tumaas yung DPWH, nadagdagan nga yung sa mga AKAP.
Natanggalan yung confidential funds si VP Sara.
O yung mga ganon. So, I don't know.
So, ano ba ang dahilan kung bakit nawala siya? Diba? I mean, aside from health reasons, na may naasar ba?
Hindi natin alam yan.
We don't know.
Pero sana sabi nila siya ang naging unang casualty ngayong pagpasok ng taon.
Now, we'll wait for a second casualty. If another casualty comes, then makikita natin yung trend.
Yes.
And we will know ano yung reason.
Totoo yan. So, ay mga branches natin, ano kayang isip nila? Pero let's continue with our countdown.
On our top two, Vice President Sara Duterte thanks the Iglesia Ni Cristo for their support, describing it as a powerful show of unity and faith. Here's the report.
Members of Iglesia Ni Cristo took part in their so-called peace rally on Monday. In Quirino Grandstand in Manila, the crowd reportedly reached around 1.5 million. They insist that this was not a political move.
Sana lahat tayo, bumalik lang tayo doon sa pagpapatawaran, sa pagkakaisa, sa awa sa isa't isa, sapagkat may mas malaking konteksto, may mas mabigat na suliranin na yun ang talagang dapat na inuuna, lalo na nung mga inihalal natin.
The INC previously said that the rally was in support of President Bongbong Marcos's statement against the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte. Duterte thanked INC members for conducting the peace rally.
Sa gitna ng tumataas na presyo ng bilihin, kahirapan, at iba pang suliranin, ang isang mapayapa at nagkakaisang Pilipinas ay hindi kailanman matitinag at paulit-ulit na aahon sa gitna ng hamon ng panahon.
Some politicians were also present in the rally. Senator Bato de la Rosa, for one, maintained that any impeachment is ill-timed.
Ayaw. Sinusuportahan ko yung panlalawagan ng karamihan. And I hope the people behind the impeachment, hindi lang yung nag-file, yung mga nagpa-file dyan, nagagamit lang yan. May mga tao pa dyan sa likuran yan. Kung sino-sino yung mga tao nila gusto talaga ma-impeach si Bibi Sara, sana nakikinig sila sa mensahe na pinaparating nito mga kababayan natin. This mammoth crowd na andito ngayon na nagkakaisa, sana makinig sila.
Malacanang meanwhile hopes that a peace rally would help shed light on issues being faced by the country. Simultaneous peace rallies were also held in Cebu, Albay, and Davao. For News 5, I'm Ria Fernandez. We are One News.
Ayun. So kasi 'di ba nga sinasabi nung iba, actually mga 2 hours ago nagsalita yung isang lawyer na yung isa sa mga behind doon sa third impeachment complaint. So sinasabi niya, we are not naive. No, pertaining doon sa sinasabi daw ng rally na to na peace rally when in fact it's actually daw a support for Vice President Sara Duterte.
Tsaka yung literal pakiusap ng COMELEC na huwag gamitin itong as a political platform.
Yeah.
Literal naman hindi nga kayo umakyat para magsalita at mag-deliver ng speech. But you were there with the same sign.
Being there says a lot.
With the same sign, lahat kayo, sumenya sila ng ganyan, nagpa-interview kayo about showing your true colors. Sumuway kayo sa utos ni SP Chis Escudero na do not talk about who you're supporting because kung umabot ang impeachment case sa Senado, kailangan impartial ang Senado.
You'll see yung difference.
Dito pa lang inamin na nila
But you'll see the difference between a little difference between Senator Bato de la Rosa at saka Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Kasi Senator Padilla outrightly sinabi niya na hindi naman ako magpapaka-plastic pa or something to that effect na pag dumating sa Senado yung impeachment, hindi na ako mag-iisip, alam niyo na kung ano yung boto ko, which is against siya sa impeachment.
Malinaw rin naman ang declaration ni Senator Bato.
Pero isa sa mga sinabi ni Senator Bato, isa sa mga interviews niya at least, sinabi niya na hindi mo na ako magsalita kasi tatayo ako isang judge doon sa
ngayon.
Pero nandun siya sa
Nandun siya. Tapos yung sinabi pa niya, di ba, makinig kayo sa mammoth crowd. Diba?
Pero sinasabi nga kasi daw ng mga members of Iglesia ni Cristo dahil dito sa kanilang peace rally ay wala daw silang, sinusuportahan nila si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na wag ituloy yung impeachment complaint. Diba? Complaint. Pero yun nga, nandun dun sila sinasabi ng iba naman on the other side of the fence, like yung mga grupo nila, Franz Castro, Congresswoman Franz Castro, former Congressman Tino, na sinasabi niya, we cannot achieve peace without justice.
And then we'll move forward. Baka basta ako naman, let it go through the process. Ngayon, if it's not sufficient, then di ba, i-cancel out nyo or na it's not sufficient in form and substance. Basta let it go through the process. Don't let it be swayed by anybody's rally.
Ang tanong dyan, meron pa bang meron panahon pa ba kasi election na? Yan ang ating tanong dyan. So let's move forward. Now for our top story, the National Bureau of Investigation has finished its probe into Vice President Sara Duterte's alleged death threat against President Bongbong Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and Speaker Martin Romualdez. Prosecutor General Richard Anthony Fadolon said that while the investigation is complete, prosecutors will still review the gathered evidence. Depending on their findings, the team may either recommend further action to the Department of Justice or send the case back to the NBI. DOJ Undersecretary Raul Vasquez explained that this process is part of the ongoing case buildup.
Part of the case buildup, the evaluation stage that was referred to by PG Richard, once the evaluation is confirmed to be enough to warrant preliminary investigation, that's the time that the preliminary investigation proper will be initiated.
Now to discuss more about the INC Peace Rally and the impeachment complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte, we have with us via Zoom Professor Dennis Coronacion, Chair of the Department of Political Science at the University of Santo Tomas. Prof,
Hi, Prof.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Again.
Hi, good morning. It's a pleasure joining you here.
Yeah, Prof, ang daming pangyayari. Kaka-start lang ng New Year. Let's start off with this so-called peace rally ng INC. Ano yung thoughts niyo po dito?
Well, obviously, it's political in nature, no? Despite the fact that they are saying na it is non-partisan and it's just meant to support the position of the president that he's not supporting the impeachment move against the vice president. So kung sasabihin na yung i-claim nila na wala to kinalaman sa politika, that's definitely not true, no? It's kahit sa mo tingnan kahit sa anggulo, ito may politika. Halimbawa yung katanungan na yung mga senators who attended there in that rally, who kapag matutuloy yung impeachment trial, they would sit as judges impeachment trial. By mere presence in that rally, already suggest kung ano yung kanilang position, kung ano yung magiging judgment nila. Right. Hindi pa nga nag-uumpisa yung impeachment process, alam mo na agad na kung kanino natin sila ibibilang.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Prof.
So yun nga po, and one more thing is that this is not the first time that this happened, I think back in 2012, incidentally tungkol rin sa impeachment trial. Kaya nga lang, at that time it was the impeachment trial of Justice Corona.
Yes, that's right. Pero Prof, ang question ko kasi is, ano impact nitong rally sa mga senators who are still mum about their position in case po umabot ito sa Senate? Do you think 1.5 million is enough to sway their votes, or they're still banking on other votes from different sectors?
Well, if ever this is going to have an impact, isipin natin who among the senators will be pressured by the show of force of election decree. I think ito yung mga yung mga re-electionists. Sila yung mapapaisip kasi still, even though sabihin na natin out of 110 million Filipinos, para sa mga senador na kinakailangan yung bawat boto, isipin nila na, baka magdalawang isip sila just in case they are in favor of impeaching the vice president. Baka magbago ang kanilang isip na implementasyon nila. Kasi nga 1.2 will still make a significant impact on their campaign o kaya yung bid nila for re-election. So kahit sa mga yung mga gustong bumalik sa sa Senado, I think mapapaisip din sila.
Pero Prof, aside po dito sa political climate, yung apekto nito, yung epekto naman po rather dun sa mga kababayan natin nitong naging rally na to. Kasi prior to this rally, we had surveys saying 45% of Filipino are in favor doon sa impeachment process na mag-proceed. And then we also have former Senator Laila de Lima saying na this rally doesn't represent yung majority of the Filipino, of the whole voting public, no? Kasi this is just the members of the INC. Your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Yes po. Aside po dun sa tinanong ni Diego na yung epekto nito sa political climate, ano naman po yung epekto nito sa atin as a public? Kasi prior to this rally, meron pong mga survey na lumabas saying 45% of the Filipinos are in favor of to proceed with the impeachment complaints. And then you have also Senator Laila De Lima, former Senator Laila De Lima, saying na hindi naman daw masyado makaka-apekto nito kasi hindi ito pa rin yung majority of the voting population. Your thoughts on that?
Well, 40% is still a significant number, no? Kasi kung ilalagay natin siya against the backdrop na that the Vice President has been, is one of the more popular political leaders in the country based on the surveys also. Pakikita mo na umangat sa 40+% yung dami ng mga Pilipino who support her impeachment. Ibig sabihin, nagtaturn na, nagbabago na isipan ng mga tao about the Vice President who has been very popular. In fact, nakikita rin natin yung dramatic change sa kanyang survey numbers kasi makikita natin na bumababa in the past few quarters, nakikita natin na bumababa yung suporta sa kanya. So, if this is going to continue, kumbaga man, consistent yung numbers. Bumababa yung kanyang approval rating, trust rating. At the same time, medyo significant yung number who support her impeachment. So, instant lamang. Ibig sabihin, yung public opinion is slowly becoming critical towards the Vice President.
Pero Prof, yung pagbaba ng numbers ni VP Sara, will this impact also yung mga senators who are running, whether bago or re-electionist, those who support VP Sara?
Of course, if yung popularity can have an impact on the President's ability to appoint, it also has an impact on the Vice President's ability to, to endorse, during elections. So, kung halimbawa patuloy na bababa yung survey ratings niya as well as her, yung support tataas doon sa kanyang impeachment, then most likely, yung mga allies niya will not seek her endorsement.
But having said that, Prof, ano po ba sa tingin nyo yung, kasi until now, since it was filed yung unang impeachment complaint, parang sabi nga ni Representative Franz Castro, nag-months rin na wala pa rin nangyayari. Although, of course, nagkaroon din ng holiday break. Pero what are the factors na nakaka-apekto po ng pag-usad ng impeachment complaint from the House of Congress?
Meron kasing tingin ko yung dynamics between the executive and the legislative departments. Remember that before the break, merong kautusan yung Pangulo sa kanyang mga kalyado sa House of Representatives to get involved in the impeachment against the Vice President. So I think that's one factor. So up to this point, they're still obeying the President's instructions. They're still following the President's instructions. And then second, of course, nandyan din yung nag-umpisa na sila maging busy kasi election period na. Yeah, and I think because of that, aside from the fact na may kanya-kanya silang interest na manalo sa parating na election, I think most of them are re-electionist. Bukod doon, yung sa kalendaryo ng House of Representatives, there's not going to be enough time to push through with the impeachment process. So yun ang mga factors na kino-consider ng members ng House.
Oo. Pero do you think po, sir, kasi after nitong Prof, after nitong naging rally kahapon, yung mga usap-usapan na kung tatakbo pa si Pangulo, kasi Vice President Sara Duterte sa next election, medyo nagkakaroon ng liwanag doon at she's very interested, isa sa mga naging interview niya. Do you think yung peace rally has motivated her? And do you think this peace rally also somehow will affect yung magiging survey niya ulit, mga ratings?
Well, ang tingin ko kasi the primary objective of the peace rally, yesterday's peace rally, was to influence the impeachment process. Pero sabi nyo nga, parang na-inspire si Vice President na tumuloy sa pagtakbo sa 2028. Although long way to go, matagal pa yan.
Marami pa mangyayari.
Marami pa mangyayari kasi I think more than 3 years pa after the midterm elections. So, well, ano yun parang kanya-kanya ng pagkukuhanan ng inspirasyon, itong political leaders natin sa kanilang pagtakbo. Kasi hindi naman porke ikaw na yung next in line, parang we expect that person to predetermined na tatakbo talaga.
Yeah.
But some factors na may mga wini-weigh in pa sila. Of course, yung winnability. At kapag nakita sila ng mga so-called mammoth crowd nag-gather to support her, siyempre, nakaka-inspire naman talaga yun on her part. Oo, pero kulang pa rin yan. 1.5 million allegedly umatendang rally na yan. Kulang pa rin yan kasi how many millions do you need in order to win the presidential election?
Right.
Kulang 1.5 million.
Okay.
Right. Thank you for your insights and time, Professor Dennis Coronacion.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
Yan, good insights na provide for our viewers.
Yes.
Oo. Sige, daming na pag-usapan today and that wraps up today's episode of Brunch.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro and he is Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.
Perfect.